Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next, Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Now's the time to call your friends. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time 7 days a week right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network, and on YouTube.com as Forbidden History Live, and NinjaCat111 with the Forbidden History Chronicles. And our old archives are found at The Forbidden History Series. The Forbidden History Series, starting with June 21st, 2018. Last year, ladies and gentlemen, a whole lot there. Do check it out, won't you? Still time to call your friends. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here with your host, Dezert-Owl. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming up next. You on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, and hello everyone, Crystal, Linda, Ninja, and Art, and all of you out there tuning in for the first time. Get ready, because we have a presentation for you, part 3, on Isaac and his willingness to be the perfect sacrifice. Carolina Sky, good to have you, and Fix It Fox as well. And you all know why you're here, of course, right? Because here is where we bring you the most important information on the face of the entire earth, or under the earth. Here is where each week we bring you the very best in radio broadcast listening, while we reveal the greatest secrets and the deeper mysteries of life. Yet the one question that will always remain will be this: can you handle the truth as it will be presented here this evening, at the dawn, at high noon, in the future, wherever you are around the world? Stand by for the broadcast, because it's Forbidden History Live, and it's forbidden, okay? So that's coming up. What we'll do first, though, is give a world weather report. Boy, the weather is really happening out there. Have you noticed? Oh, yeah. So we'll talk about that when we get started. And then we got words, and we got the words they killed us with, and then a whole lot more. Answers to your questions if you got them. Hope so. Got questions? There must be answers. There has to be, because Yeshua said there's nothing unknown that cannot be known, nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. And welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Dezert-Owl, and I want to welcome you, everyone out there. And so we're going to make history tonight, being a part of history, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do every broadcast, okay? Because we say things here that nobody else is talking about. We define things in a way that nobody else defines them. And these are the enigmas of our time. We must ask there's an old axiom about the political charade that's been going on, within our world. I learned it as a political activist, and it was about this idea of asking questions, and the truth is they don't care what the answers are, just as long as you are asking the wrong questions. You see? Yeah, like they want you concerned about Bippy or Tammy or Washington, D.C., the charade, the ultimate stage, Washington, D.C., a charade that has nothing to do with reality, because it is a whole nother deal. And they are the puppets of the banksters. Okay, the Federal Reserve is the head, Washington is the tail. Okay, so there is no nation. It's an imagination. That's where the word imagination goes. You see, just like emergency is the emerging sea, and they love the word trickery. They like entertainment. Add the royal letter R, and you get entertainment. Enter train men. Enter train men. Enter their mind. Enter train. That is what entertainment does, right? It puts you under the spell. It gets you looking at them, and once you're looking at them, you get mesmerized. You get taken to the cleaners. Next thing you know, you don't have nothing left but an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing but an illusion. And so we've got to see the reality, which is hiding behind the illusions. Okay, the physical realm, the physical world is an illusion, because it is only a representative of something greater. And so that's where we have to define this magnificent natural creation. The natural creation is beautiful because it was designed by Yahweh, by his thoughts, and by his his desire to bring forth a people that would want to be like him in the quality of perfection and grace and beauty and dedication, all of the things. Is he dedicated to us? Look at that sun never stops shining, right? The sun and Yeshua, when he rose from the dead, came back. He came back, right? They're still waiting for him to come back. He rose from the dead. What better kind of a comeback can you ask for? And now he said, I am with you always. I'm with you always, even until the end of the earth, which meant the end of time. Okay, so if he's with us always, why are people still waiting for him to come back? He's been talking to me all my life. He wrote, what better comeback can you have than being raised from the dead? And then he comes back in the sense of coming back as spirit, but he's not coming back in that sense, he's coming to you for the first time as spirit, because the spirit is always ready, as Paul said, but it's the flesh that's the problem. The flesh is the serpent, and that's the illusion that gets in our way. Or that lower nature, that serpent is just wanting to rule our lives and ruin our lives, and that's the big problem. Okay, so. Okay, let me breathe deep now. Okay, I'm feeling better now. Thank you. And so tonight we do have a special broadcast, part 3 of the evidence of how the Masoretic text and the priesthoods destroyed our original scriptures, destroyed the original stories, because we bought into the lie that these were sacred scriptures. This Hebrew, the Hebrew, what's called the Masoretic text, and then we find out that Matzar is the original word name for Egypt, so it's really the Egyptian text, and that all they did was put their code in there, and I can prove it, 100 ways to Sunday, how it's been manipulated, and then we buy into the illusion. Remember, they're pseudo-Israel; they're not even real Israel, and then we're down kissing their feet. Israel, the chosen people. What did that mean? They weren't. They were rejected. They were no longer chosen. They had an opportunity. They blew it because they were the firstborn. Because what the story narrative is telling us, that you have to be the second born, and that which came first, then in the sense of the first creation was in the fall. That's why the first peoples in the wilderness couldn't go into the promised land, and then that's why ultimately Israel was annihilated, because it was in other words, the promised land, the real promised land, wasn't a piece of real estate. The promised land is in your mind. The promised land is a state of being. It is perfect peace, perfect love, perfect perfection. Okay, yeah. And so, okay, Crystal, thank you, and good to have you. And you were right up at the board at the top today, and Art as well. And and by the way, Fix It Flat, or excuse me, Fix It Flat. Yeah, okay, that's how my head is spinning right now. Fix It Fox. I'm sure he's fixed a flat in his day though, but Fix It Fox. He had quite a testimony on his YouTube channel today. Ninja Cat told me about, and then so I went there and watched it, and he expressed some of his heart today about his past journey, and that he's gone through, and that takes a lot of nerve to put your face up on the camera, because I don't like doing that. That's why I'd rather have graphics. I don't need my mug up there, But anyway, he went there, sharing his passion and his his thoughts about life and everything. And so it meant a lot to me to watch it. And we had a lot in common. He was held back in Catholic school. I was held back in Catholic school, first grade. Okay. I mean, come on, this, they didn't, it's just, they didn't know I needed glasses. You think somebody would have figured that one out, but nobody cares, but they did threaten me with the yardstick periodically. They definitely wanted to threaten my life. And then, the thing about being beaten up by the system and in the wrong place at the wrong time, yeah, that happened to me as well. And I got the record for the longest case in West Virginia's history. Had to defend somebody's life, but of course that was, the government that actually created the whole scenario. Isn't it amazing what these government people do? They create the protection racket, and then they create the crime, and they make money both coming and going. Isn't it amazing? And Fix It Fox is saying life has been hitting me with a sledgehammer lately. Need to express myself. Absolutely. And when the hammer's going down, the hammer's going down big time on this planet, and so we really have to know that we know, ladies and gentlemen, and are connected as well with the Great Spirit. The good news: this is not our world. And so when we talk about, we'll be talking about Isaac, who was the second born. Take note, ASHAYAACH, correctly, ASHAYAACH. Is the second born of Zavramhaim, the one of promise. See, so the second born is what we have to become. That's where we have to be transformed and follow the plan of soul novation. Okay, and so then we're going to read tonight out of the book of Joshua. We did Josephus on Tuesday, and we did Farrar Fenton out of the regular scriptures on Sunday. Okay, and so the story, by the way, the story of Zavramhaim, which is correct for Abraham. This is where the word sovereignty comes from. Go figure, right? The Zavramhaim, Haim. He's the star ram, the Zav Ram Haim, means also he is the breath of the many. He's the star ram of the many, meaning just like the sun up in the sky is the star ram for all of us, right? He says he lets the sun shine on all people, good or bad, And so the story of Zav Ram Haim and ASHAYAACH, Isaac, is a picture of a type of the story of Yahweh being willing to sacrifice his own son. I hope you've seen that before, but if not, I don't think you can miss it now. That Zav Ram Haim, the star ram, the head of a tribe, that's what Zav Ram means. The Avram means the head of a tribe. That wasn't his name, it's his title. We don't know what he was originally called because he got this title after he came through the fire in Babylon, in probably in Ur at the time with Nimrod, and he was 3 days and 3 nights in the fiery furnace. And after he got in Nimrod's face and told him that you're fool worshiping idols, and so that's in the book of Jasher, if you haven't read it. And so so the story of Zav Ram Haim, he represents the light of the sun, just like Yeshua is the logo, the representative of the light of the sun. Okay, with all the power, with all that chi, right? And then then his son listened to the word Isaac, correctly ASHAYAACH. Well, there's the prime suffix of Mo ASHAYAACH. Mo ASHAYAACH is the Messiah. That's the original word for Messiah. And there you hear the prefix on it is Moses, right? Moeshan, Moeshayak, Moses, Moeshan. You see? And so all these words, when you put them back correctly, all of a sudden there's all these connections. And this is how they've disjointed our connection with the original thought, ladies and gentlemen, that we present here on the broadcast. And it's a deep science, but yet it's far easier to learn than Hebrew or the Greek. I've never wanted to learn Hebrew and Greek. You would have had to pay me good money. And there is no good money, but you know what I mean. If a gold and silver, maybe, in order to learn Hebrew or Greek, because I knew that wasn't where the answer lied. But I get my concordance out and my lexicons, and I look up the words, but I'm not going to learn how to speak that jargon fluently. And so, but then the Father showed me, because I could read, in our modern time, the root forms. It was like, okay, what's going on here? And so it actually goes past, precedes the Hebrew and the Greek, and we find it then in what we call the original Aramaic. Aramaic is Archaimelic. Archaimelic means the power of the fiery keys of the mother's tongue. That's literally what Archaimelic means in the literal Archaimelic. Okay, but it is also known as the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, and what they hid from us. So this is what we're going to be talking about, and this is what we talk about every broadcast. But we go into any direction. We can talk. You have a comment or question about the political thing. You want to bring it on. Call us, give us a call, or history, modern history, American history. The game, how the game is played. It's a pattern of history, ladies and gentlemen. What's going down has been going down from the beginning. Some people actually think they can change the world. And my classic statement to them, well, the world hasn't changed since Cain beat his brother over the head. So you think you're going to change this world? Look up in the sky at night. That's evidence that this is a world of darkness. The sunrise comes, but the sunrise is up there in the garden of the atoms. You see, it's in the fire. It's in the light. And it is beyond this world. We have to be lifted up out of this world. Walking on water is symbolic of walking above the lower creation, you see. And so real quick, I just want to mention, about the weather, because the weather is just absolutely, mind-blowing what's happening, this geoengineering. And it's, we're no longer in a natural world. There is no natural weather. It is all manipulated. They're using wavelengths, and frequencies, and ionospheric heaters, and all of these things, are having an effect on us today, ladies and gentlemen. It's affecting our psyche, affecting us physically, affecting the weather, affecting the animals, and thank you for that, Shelley. That's what I was just about to say. Yeah. put desert in all capital letters so I don't miss it, and use upper and lowercase with your comment or question, okay? And I'll be glad to stop what I'm doing. And so I just saw Mr. MBB333 tonight. I saw, a thing on Florida where they got a tropical thing coming, 5 inches of rain in 45 minutes, right? 5 inches of rain, and that was in Lakeland, Florida, and it just literally, those things have happened in the past, but literally when we see the flooding that's going on all around the world, and all, the rivers flowing down the streets, right? We've been seeing that. And the thing is, like I was watching earlier tonight, I didn't finish it yet. The Alpine glaciers are all melting. It was a 50-minute report on the Alps in Germany and Switzerland. And guess what? All of the glaciers, all of them, okay, are disappearing. They're almost gone in Germany. There's virtually no more glacial ice in Germany, in the Alps, and and now it's getting landslides because the permafrost up there, and the ice pack is all. So now what's happening is the rocks are falling, and one community literally had a landslide and destroyed several homes, killed about 8 people. Just within the last recent history. I don't know, a year ago or what, but how long ago it was. But houses that were there were like this one house 300 or 400 years old. The lady had to watch them demolish it because it was already run in by the rock slide, and so our world. That's the funny thing, because there was this guy, and there's still, I don't know if he's doing his YouTube anymore, but he has a bald head, and he was talking about the great Mondrian minimum, or the solar minimum 11-year cycle, but it's the grand solar minimum, and where, because there's pockets of cool down that go on. He follows the pockets of cool down. See, we're going into a miniature ice age. That's the reason he's got a bald head. Remember, signs and symbols rule the world. Well, the bald head represents the priesthood. You see, and that's why also they got a lot of the macho cops today. They all want to be skinheads, right? And the skinhead so the skinhead bald head represents the priesthood. That's where that comes from. Remember, like in Maitzar, the priests had bald heads, right? And so you can tell by the disinformation artist, and then you look at how he's got no hair in his head, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm one of you guys." Okay, he's giving the high sign. He's a double agent, disinformation artist. So I wish we were going into an ice age, because certainly what's about to happen is the end of the world. And the ice age would be a better deal, because then it means that moisture would be contained, but we're losing it all. Desert Ninja, you're saying I have a link I need you to see. They just announced the manipulation of volcanoes to block out sunlight using the same weather tech. Yeah, well, no, we knew that. They were Ninja. Yeah, sure, I'd like to see that. But they started these fires. These secret agents started the fires up in Canada, up in Alaska, up in California. They're setting fires everywhere. They're going to use the last resource material for our planet that we use to build homes and to give us oxygen and to give us shade and to preserve the soil so it doesn't run off. They're going to literally burn down the rest of the virgin forest that's left, if we can say that, and they're using that for cool down as well. So the volcanoes, absolutely, that would be that'd be better than burning down the trees, actually. If they could do that, but of course it's going to displace a lot of people and create more injury. It's just we're on a downward spiral. But what's interesting with the documentary on the Alpine glaciers, and they're talking about we're going into global warming, to use the cliche. But they, as Dane Wigington rightly points out, they never mention geoengineering, right? Never mention geoengineering or man's manipulation. They're talking about the problem, but they're not talking about the cause of the problem. And and they're going to blame everybody, all of us, and we're going to have to get bicycles. That's their idea of fixing the problem when we know it's something far different. So, and it was probably our technological industrial age that began the cycle of taking down our world, because this technological age was a fraud. It was a front. It was a phony. We didn't need gas combustion engines when we had free energy, you know. We didn't need all this stuff. They've created nuclear power plants when we got the energy of the sun when we can harness. And so what these nuclear power plants are going to be are the final death nail when all the, you know, the earthquakes and the, you know, and electricity goes out, then all the reactors will overheat and they'll all blow up their, you know, their radiation in the air. So it's mass genocide. I guess the globalists, the unseen hand, the ancient Vakarest just figured suicide is better than getting on their knees and asking forgiveness, you know. That's all it can amount to. They think they're going to tough it out underground. Well, you know, good for them, okay? But the good news is this is not our world, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Not our world. And so we don't, you know, have to be, what we have to focus on is the truth in our scriptures and in our, you know, in our, well, you know, as I put it, the best way to know the truth is to identify with all the lies. Okay, so we identify the lies, then it gets real easy to see the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We point it all out. So when we get back, we'll get into some Shavuos. Okay, so we're going to our first musical break, and I want to thank you for joining us. It's still time to call a friend. We're just getting ramped up this evening, and hope you all are doing well out there. And yeah, call a friend, won't you? Okay, after all you wanted to know. I'm Dezert-Owl. We'll be right back.
About the damage that's been done, the anger wells inside me till I'm almost overcome. I want to tear the moon out of the sky and drop the sun. Why do I feel so all alone, like I'm the only one? Even though your eyes are open, they may never ever see. Your mind may never comprehend this sinful subtlety. Your heart may never hunger for the truth that sets you free. Your soul may know the darkness of divine eternity, like petty thieves who plunder in the shadows of so well it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes in curiosity. Dust in the wind, all they are is dust in the wind. Same old song, just a drop of water in an endless sea. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see. Dust in the wind, all we are is dust in the wind. Now, don't hang on. Nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky. It slips away, and all your money won't another minute buy. Dust in the wind, all we are is dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the
And welcome back to Forbidden History Live, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, we got to make lemons out of lemonade, and that's what we. Did I say lemons out of lemonade? I always get confused with that. You know, I don't know why. Because they got us thinking backwards on everything. Isn't it interesting? You know, it's like when we say okay, you know, the light bulb goes off, right? Wait a minute, the light bulb goes off? Wait a minute, don't we want the light bulb to go on? You know, and you then you get up every day out of bed, and then you tell everybody, good morning. Hey, hope you have a good death in your family. Good morning. Good morning. And then do you really want to be awake when it's a funeral? You know, you see, we could go on. I actually have a book I drafted called The Piracy of Words, and I'm never going to publish it because they've killed our world, and it's over. And Made in Texas, good to have you. And I spent over 20 years in Texas. I practically feel like I was made in Texas. That's where I began my deep studies, and so I was there for about 20 years, and had my metamorphosis there, and was part of the freedom movement at the time. It was part of the Take Texas Back movement. Gary Graham, J.N. Lowe, and J.N. Lowe was part of the Republic of Texas. Jesse Van Kirk would Take Texas Back. I met those guys, and then the Republic, Texas Republic, was formed, and then they kept dividing and conquering by the games that are played, by the double troubles, ladies and gentlemen. But Texas, a big state, beautiful state in its own right, other than Houston, where I lived most of my time, the armpit of America. But Austin and Upper East Texas and all that, and of course West Texas, absolutely beautiful, And so quite a heritage there. But you read the Constitution of the Texas Republic, and in there it says, we don't think that anybody that is of the cloth, meaning a preacher or a Christian, bottom line, should be a part of the government. Okay, so they didn't say secret society members, but they actually said in the first Texas Constitution that people of a Christian orientation should not be a part of the government. I thought that was rather interesting. I did some programming on our broadcasts on the Texas Constitution. I read it, dissected it, and because we're trying to get back to real law and real de jure government. But but that's all. It's not our world. To be set free from all that is so beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. To realize it's not our world. That's their game. Let them play their game. It's their sandbox. Let them do what they want to do. We just have to be separate from them. Separate, and not consent, and don't give them any validity. Of course, if we're a slave, the scripture says, then be a good slave. So obey all the codes, rules, regulations. And if you're a freeman, a zavram, then don't bind yourself with adhesion contracts with foreign papers. Foreign instruments. That's the word, foreign instruments. So and then you'll find you're very alone. You'll know the truth, and you'll find yourself a fugitive within your own land, and nobody want to talk to you anymore. And you'll lose your family. I mean, everybody will come against you because you woke up. You saw that everybody was going in the wrong direction, and so many. And Made in Texas has Texas has so many corrupt local political and law enforcement. Absolutely, it's the same everywhere basically, and it's worse in certain areas, in certain pockets. I mean, Pennsylvania is Transylvania. I always call it Pennsylvania, Transylvania. This when you go to jail, they actually call it jail prison. They don't call it a jail anymore. They say, no, you're in prison. We got prisoner. Come over here. Remember, that's what they did in France. They wouldn't even call you by your name. They totally reduced you to spit. And then when you're in the courtroom, they say, the prisoner, let the prisoner speak now. Does the prisoner have anything to say? But they won't call you by your identity because they want to, devalue yourself, your own self-worth and your worth between anybody else. It's, well, the Republic was a great idea, but of course, Republic, see in the word itself, like we don't want to be public, right? We want to be private, right? So what do they call it? A republic. Oh, well, you thought you were, chattel property. Well, we'll call it a republic, and you'll think you're free, but really you're just another piece of property, for us to lean against and to hold as chattel. So republic is really an oxymoron when we think about it, Crystal. That's the problem with these ASHAYAACH wars. Public is we want private. We want the reprivate, and leave me alone, please. But that'll never happen because that's not the nature of this world. They're coming for you. They're coming for me. And there is the only good news, solace in that is that if we are one with the sovereign, then he will protect us in the way we need to be protected. We will see the trouble coming, and we will then be able to be prepared mentally, physically. We can do all things, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for that, Ninja. Okay, I got it. And so we just have to realize that things are not what they seem, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and we have to think deeply. Most people are on the surface, and they buy into anything that they are told without investigating. And most people are good parrots. They're going to parrot whatever they heard. And I always want to say to people, the things that you follow are these things that have been handed to you by tradition, or these things that have been revealed to you by the Great Spirit. Are these the things that have unfolded for you? Because once the truth came to me, I found out everybody's going 180 degrees in the other direction. And then the truth is the other direction, because they're as it says that many seek to enter into the royal house of the Son, into the kingdom of heaven. The corrupt form is the kingdom of heaven, the royal house of the Son of light. It's right here, it's up there, it's down here. It is, because it is universal, and it is in the light, and there is no darkness at all. And so we have to recognize that we have to go through a transformation of thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, words are not what you think, and words are not supposed to control you, because you are supposed to be in control of the words. Words are ASHAYAACH. In the beginning, it said, was the word. I like that one. Was, wait a minute. And the word was, God was, what, not is anymore? Or what's that all about? You see, the smallest words they've tricked us with. So in the beginning is the word, if that were a correct transliteration. And then in the Greek is in the beginning, says was the Logos, but it's is the Logos. That's the evidence that they did a switch out. Remember, we were just talking about the reversal. They got us to think backwards on everything. And so in the beginning, though, is the ASHAYAACH, and that means the royal eye at the center. So it's a metaphor. You are the royal eye, and you have to be centered and go back to the center of the beginning. The point on the letter A, the point, not the projection out, but the point. And when you get back to the point, then you're at the core, the vortex, and that's the royal eye. Okay, and so we're made by the royal eye. And so when it said that we're made in the image, it wasn't talking about the flesh. And Philo states that clearly. And a friend of Yeshua, and also the great philosopher, historian on metaphor, symbol, and numerics, and all of that out of the Old Covenant, and who converted into following the ASHAYAACH. Okay, he says that the idea of we are made in the image is by our inner nature that has the potential to be one. That's why Yeshua said, to be one with the one, because Yeshua said, to be you therefore perfect. And so a father wouldn't ask a son to do something unless he was capable of doing it. So to put on the perfection is the ultimate end of creation. And that's why we had to be second born, because the first was only made perfect by physical form, even though our bodies get old and die, because that's whatever has a beginning has an end. But we were, obviously look at our bodies, they are perfect. And it's really profound. I was just thinking, and let me, before I get there, but then the spirit, we have to put on the perfection of our nature. A perfect man offends not a word in deed. Behold, we speak wisdom among those who are perfect. He has perfected forever those who are separated, who are set aside. Look up the word perfection in the scriptures. Blow your mind, because everybody at the drop of a hat will say, well, nobody's perfect, man. Because they've been looking at themselves. And therefore they don't know everybody, but yet they don't read deeply the scriptures either, because he came to create a perfect society, people that would not steal, cheat, lie, or deceive, or all of the negatives, and so but anyway, what was interesting is when I was thinking of the body, I was doing my workout today, and I realized when I was manipulating different parts of my body. I do a thorough workout, in other words, my feet, my toes, my kneecaps, everything gets manipulated at one point. When I was moving my kneecaps up and down, doing 36 reps to strengthen, the cartilage in there and everything, get the blood circulating. And then I was moving my toes, and I'm thinking, gee, isn't that amazing? I can think about it. And then down there, It does it. It just, whatever I think, I want to move my hands, want to move my legs, want to move my body in a certain way. All I have to do is think, and my body reacts in the way I want, exactly the way I want. I don't even know how I'm doing it. You see? And that to me, when I saw that, I said, wait a minute, that's sort of like the way it is with Yahweh, the great Father of light. When he wants something done, any part of his body, which is all of nature, moves at the moment when he wants it to move. Like when he parted the Red Sea, or when he made, fire come down on the mountain. All of nature good to go on his thought. And I saw the parallel, how we're like the microcosm that explains, when we look at how our body is a universe by itself with trillions of cells, trillions, right? They say that if you took all the veins out of our body, that are totally entwined throughout our entire body, that it would wrap around the world several times. I heard him say it in a documentary. It's like the miracle that we are. And so I was amazed to see the parallel that we get our body to react, and our body is a universe all by itself. You're the center of your own universe. Your heart is your like the sun. That's why they call it a solar plexus right there as well. The soul is right there, apparently, in that sense. Even though it's connected with your mind, they go together. But the heart is what allows you to really see clearly. When you got heart. So anyway, I'm just astounded that I saw that today, and because I already knew that all of nature bends upon his will, but now I saw how my body reacts, and I don't even know how I can do it on that moment. What did I do? I just thought about it and I moved it. It's pretty cool, I thought. So we got to see things differently in ways we've not seen them before, ladies and gentlemen, and then compare it with the great the great plan of Yeshua, because this is a world of mystery, but the mysteries, all of nature is speaking. It is speaking in a higher attic form of communication. Okay, and so it's, in other words, higher attic. It's up in the attic, meaning at the highest point. Okay, and so we have to go up there into the attic. You know how you hate to go in the attic, right? Because it's usually hotter up there, and and things are, and there's dark, and and whatever, But I mean, but to go into the attic is the highest form of communication and thought. That's what hieroglyphics would have been, representing in that sense, because hieroglyphics means higher graphics of the higher form, higher attic. There you go, higher attic. So, but literally our A, B, C, D capital letters, the A, B, C, which correctly is the A, V, G. They lied to us about that. Then that way, good to have you. And that's actually the higher attic form. You see, that's why they gave us squiggles in the Aramaic, what they call demotic el strangulo, and in just like Arabic, or what they call Sanskrit today, which is pseudo-Sanskrit, but they want you to think it's those squiggly little lines you see in India on their writing, and it's not. This is the real Sanskrit. It's Sanskrit because you can write on the sand with it, and straight lines. These straight lines are defining things in our nature. They are the primary symbols, the primary form of communication from A to Z, and that would be correctly TZ. The TZ go together, and that means that's the lightning on the cross. That's what Yeshua at the end, when he said it is finished, when he has now brought together the formula for a perfect creation, and the Z power of there is up there, and he says it is finished. Okay, that's when he had victory of light. When the flesh was destroyed, and the spirit then conquers, and he then rises from death, and that's what we have to do, is rise from death, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so with a little bit of the words here, and I forgot to let Zealot know about our program today. He said he needed a reminder, but then I thought he was getting the notices, so I'm not sure now. I don't know, Shelley, if you can do an email to Zealot to remind him the program's on, because he he seems to want to be on all the programs, and he may. I don't know if everybody's getting a notice or not. We got friends jumping in, so it seems like the notices are going out. But I had one more element on his name I wanted to share, and so I'll hold that for when he comes on the program. So with the keys, this thing about where and Just Love, good to have you just in time, because I've got some answers for you as well. I was gonna do the symbols. Let me do the symbols, then I'll get to your questions from the last program that didn't get answered. When I did a review, I saw it again. Okay, you got to put my name in all capital letters, Just Love, and I won't miss it that way. Okay, that way, yeah. Okay, and so let me move these cards around here. I got my desk filled with 3x5 cards, and so Confucius said, "I hear and I forget, but I hear and I see. I get the picture, then I remember." Okay, and so the keys. The thing about the keys. And we heard where Yeshua said, that when he was speaking to Pharisees, you are holding the keys of eternal life, but you're not going in, nor are you letting anybody else go in. You see, you're not opening the door for yourself. You're not opening the door for anybody else, and you're holding the keys. And so, then when he says to all of them, who do people say that I am? And then Kephe, not Peter. Peter's the switch out. It's Kephe, and he says, Kephe says, "You're the ASHAYAACH," and he says, "Way to go, Kephe, because flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but the Spirit of my Father." And then, and he says to them all, not to him, Kephe alone, but they made it look like it was just to Kephe, falsely called Peter. And but he says, "I give unto you the keys of the kingdom," and whatever and so what the implication is that the keys unlock everything, right? The mysteries. And that's what we're doing with the Ashavors, because the Ashavors, the forms of communication, are the primary way of unlocking everything. Okay, everything. And so what's interesting, then they changed the name of Kephe, and by the way, Kephe means the keys of the woman. Okay, that's where let me type that in there. Khay. Phay is the Key, the fiery keys, not just the keys, but the Fiery keys of the WOMAN. Okay, the Kephe, the fiery keys of the woman. And so this is maybe why the woman got a bad rap again, because she really represented quite a load. She's bringing forth the baby. And so the fiery keys of the woman. And so what are the keys? What we've been talking about, all of nature speaks. Nature is carrying the symbol, the tree, the serpent, the fruit, the river, the rib of the earth. River is rib of the earth. There's the metaphor for that. It's so the fiery keys. It means they're speaking. Even the earth itself, by the ancient definition, was called the emerald fire, right? The emerald fire. That's why, because everything's green, right? The emerald fire. It's all on fire with the light, the protoplasma that comes down, the atom, and it grows, and it's the emerald fire. That's why the Emerald City was called the Emerald City, because it was speaking about what was going down on Earth. That's why green is a primary color of the secret society symbolism, and I think you see it in the Italian flag, but most especially you see it with the orange, the Masonic 33rd degree orange on the flag of India, the green and the orange. Okay, go check it out. And so where you see the green, you see a power broker. Okay, I think we see the green in the Mexican flag as well. And so the different flags, just like in ancient, what they call heraldry. When different families were coming into room, they had their crests, their colors, and their symbols. And then the herald would read, "Now comes, the Bush family, mafia, per excellente, and and their family, Georgie boy, the mind control wonk, and Obama following right behind." I'm just being a little facetious here. Got to make fun about all that nonsense, right? So pathetic and so sickening. But anyway, so to be able to read the symbol, ladies and gentlemen, is significant. So when I'm talking about the keys, then what do we have? Well, they stole Kefe's name and they named him Peter because that Peter represents the phallus, right? We know that it's a slang. Peter is a slang for a male sexual organ, and in fact, I think the saltpeter was made with urine. That's why they called it Peter. And also then it has to do with like the pistol, and all these things are intertwined. But the reason they had to change his name was because it represented the male phallus. But then at the same time, because it looks like the way they translated it, he got the keys. Then Peter is better than all the other 12, and that wasn't the case. They all got the keys, but they made it look like it was Peter who was getting the keys. And then what do you find at the Vatican? What do you find behind the Pope on his big chair, on the wall, on the symbols, on the shields? You see the cross keys, right? The cross keys. And so what are they telling you? They're holding the keys, and they're not going to let you in, and they're not going in either. Ha, 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 ha. You see? That's what's going down, ladies and gentlemen. And so if you read the symbol, then and just like they call the hat on the Pope, the fish hat, it's not really the fish. What do they call the hat? They call it the Dagon. Well, then add the royal symbol, the royal vowel, the secret vowel R for royal, and then you get dragon. And what is the dragon? What drags itself on the ground? The serpent. You see? And this is how you have to follow the trail of symbolism, and then to know the secret code. And so it's the serpent. It's not a fish hat. They want you to think it's a fish hat and not get the picture. It's the serpent because we are all serpents after all. You see, we are all serpents. And that's one of the great lies, next to several of the others, like who Adam is, which we just did a series on, just like who the Watchers really are, which we just did a series on. They want us to think Adam is Lucifer, and they want us to think the Watchers are some invisible creatures with wings on their back, when they were the fallen cousins and the children of Adam, the Aryan race that decided they'd rather conquer the world than worship Yahweh and fast half the time. They were tired of that aesthetic living and wanted to go marry some of those beautiful redhead women down there, the Celtic warfaring class that they enslaved and made them their front organization for being puppet kings. That's the leprechaun. Leprechaun means the leopard king, the spotted king. He gets his pot of gold because he does what his Aryan priesthood tells him to do. That's the priesthood is always behind everything, isn't it? And so I just wanted to mention about the keys, because that's a primary idea here that we're talking about. It's the keys that unlock everything. And so the primary keys then in this discussion would then be the letters of the alphabet, because if they've changed your keys, that's your code. If they change your code, then how are you ever going to be able to see and read it for yourself? You can't. You're going to go to your priest, your pastor, your Masonic boo-boo, and you're going to say, please tell me what the truth is, because I'm stupid and I don't get it at all. And that's because they mixed everything up in a blender, and then out came a bunch of garbage. That's basically what happened. And so one more word, and then I'll get on to Q&A real quick. And if anybody does have a comment or question, we have a phone number that you can call in on. We're still Shelley thinks we got it working now. So the phone number, where's that phone number? I had it around here somewhere. Shelley, you may want to just pull it up if somebody did want to call in, and or on Skype. We prefer Skype. Okay, Skype number 1. The phone is the backup, and then if that doesn't work, then my number is 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. But and there's the other. There was the other number. To put that back, Shelley, they didn't see that quick enough. Forbidden History Live. Forbidden History Live is our Skype-in number. And so the word sovereign, just put that other number up real quick. There you go, Shelley. Thank you. The word sovereign, okay, is and as you've heard me refer to it as correctly, TZOV. RAM. Zavram is, but when you can change vowels and you're dealing with code, then there's different ways of being able to interpret this. So I think I'll put it in the chat here, okay? And sovereign is missing an H in the corrupted form because the GH is right there. It's pretty evident, but I'll spell this now. Okay, let me back up here. ZOVRAM, okay, Zavram, and but then also this, like this, SOLVORREIGN. Okay, and so the primitive primary Indo-Germanic is the Zavram, and but Zavram is also like this, AVRAM. Okay, Avram. There's this, that's star ram. Okay, star ram, and so in the sense of the Zavram, it literally means SOVEREIGN. I think I spelled it right on the, yeah, but there would be a GH in there. Notice how the G is a silent symbol. Okay, the G is the symbol of light. It's telling you by that G equals the sun. That's gold. Okay, that's the gold, and the golden light. And so so the Zav Ram, then the Ram is the sun, symbol of the sun. And then, but in the word Solvarain in the second line, okay, right under sovereign, I have Solvarain. And that's another way of, when you know you're in control of the words. Remember that, what was the quote here? Words are not what you think, and words are not supposed to control you, because you are supposed to be in control of the words. So it unfolds. And so another aspect of that Solvarain is like this. Okay, I'll spell it again. SOLVOR. Y'all want to be sovereigns, don't you? REIGN, which means the RULE from the CENTER of the sun. SUN. Boom. Okay, and we could spell sun like this. Actually, it's could be like this. TSON. Okay, like that. And because everything's been altered and abbreviated. Okay, so Solvran then in this other aspect, playing on more of the modern form, like rain. Rain is a modern day corruption, but it literally means the rule from the center of the sun. Okay, because soul, there's the soul right there, and what they call that the latter part of every word a suffix. The suffix is like the primary, and I would have thought, in the beginning I did, that the prefix was the more important part of the Shavor of the word, but it's really the suffix. And so solvorain means the rule, rain. You see the word rain, it means rule. The rule from the center, the vor. Where's the center? In the vor, the vortex, abbreviation for vortex. That's the center of the soul, of the sun. The rule from the center of the soul, or the center of the sun. You see, it's literal. There's no question once you know the root forms that are there. The one thing they left out is their code is the GH combination. Why? Because they hate the sun, and so they didn't want to return back to the light. And so unlike all their other code words where they have the GH, even in the word America on the Declaration of Independence we showed you, note that you got a GH at the very center of your keyboard, the GH for return, and then we find the GH in words, that is expressive of the return. That it's their code because they want to keep everything for themselves. Okay, so that's sovereign, and I always wonder how people are able to absorb this type of information the first time they're hearing it. 'Cause I've been diving in all my life, and it's rather it's second nature now for me to be able to read the words. I see a word and then I read it, but I read it a different way. It's called lexicography. Lexicography means reading the symbol. We're not. In other words, the way everybody else is reading it, when it's all spelled incorrectly and all forgive the French, but screwed up, because only one letter is supposed to have one sound, but we got letters that have three sounds. We got letters that sound like other letters. That's why foreigners say it's so hard, to learn. Okay, but what was the point I was going to make now? Okay, I got twisted in my own words. Okay, that's the serpent going around. Okay, and yeah, it's a deep wick, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very deep wick, and we've got to see and read things for ourselves. We got to know how to read now. This is what we got here. We got Aramaic slash ancient Indo-Germanic mother tongue 101 here. Okay, and it is possible to get it. Ninja gets it. Ninja gets it big time. She's been following from my other channel for a year, and Yochelleg gets it. That's why she was so excited to produce a program when my computer went down and I crashed, and I just said, I'm just hitting the books. I can't do nothing but read anymore. I'm just tired of the technology. They keep attacking my work. Every year I go through another computer, and they hack my computer. They I don't even want to get into that, but so it's yeah. All right, so let's go to Just Love's questions here. Let's move away from the ASHAYAACH. When Zealot pops in, then we'll share with him a little more on the word zealot, which was really a cool discovery. Brazil, Desert. I always found it impossible to learn other languages in school. It is because I learned English first. That's right. They put us under the spell, and it was their spell, and it was not a supernatural power, but just a game that they played on us, like Pig Latin, right? That we call it Pig Latin, and it'd be like saying, when you are raised up, they reverse everything, and like when they tell you, this is what they do in mind control, by the way. When somebody says "I love you," to those who are programmed, what they're immediately thinking is, "Oh, I hate you." They just heard you say "I hate you." When you say "I hate you," then "I love you," and they literally do that, in this stinking world that we have here. I used to, of course, study mind control. I used to interview the mind control victims, and read the book by Kathy O'Brien, Transformation of America. Yeah, hang on a minute. Okay, so Just Love, I'm assuming you're still there, and so on the board when I was talking, you throw up a question like, and I guess you're just making it for whoever wants to grab at it. So I don't know if don't think anybody commented on it when you posted, but let me give it a shot. Okay, so one of them was, when I said that Adam lied to his woman, okay, and you said he lied to his woman, ? And so yeah, because the serpent, I got into that. You got to go back and listen to our series on who Adam really is. And just about 8 programs ago, give or take. Just look at it's right there on the board, and so the serpent. When I looked up the word serpent, that's when I saw the word star ram. It wasn't a serpent. It was the. Wait a minute. Let me think now, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. More subtle was this Avram. Oh no, the serpent was the Naga. When I looked under the Strongs, it was Naga, and I realized that was abbreviation for Nagash, but the real word is still abbreviation of Navigator. The Navigator is the one who wiggles, and moves left and right, and so he's the star navigator. And who's the star navigator? He's the one who named all things. Who's the one who knew the element of all our creation that was the bright and shining one, who gave the knowledge to his children, who then took that knowledge and decided to conquer the world. The Vekaresh, the Watchers, the Aryans. You see? Those are the ones who gave us the Great Pyramid civilization. So Adam lied to his woman when he says, hey, baby, if we do this thing, it's not going to hurt. No, we're not going to die, because Great Elohim knows that when we do this thing, we will become like Great Elohim. And what was the implication? That if we do this thing, we will be creators, just like the Creator, and we will know the difference between sun and moon, meaning light and darkness, male and female, good and evil, as they put it, which was the watered-down version. The primary original would have been sun and moon, because sun and moon, you get the picture of light and darkness, light and absence of light. So what he's saying was that he knew that within her was the potential to bring forth the baby. He knew that. She didn't, because she was naive. She comes out of the side. He'd been up there 4 billion years, naming everything, you see? And so, yeah, so the serpent, remember, we are the serpent. And so when the priesthood changes the word out from navigator to naga, and then it becomes serpent, you see how it goes through several generations of transformation? They keep changing the words. How are you going to get back home on the map if they keep changing the words? So you are the serpent. Eve was the serpent. Adam was the serpent. He's the tree of knowledge in the metaphor. She's the tree of life in the metaphor. She can bring, and so the sun is the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. The moon is the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. And we are trees of knowledge and trees of life. You see? And so she can bring forth the baby. So symbolically, remember it said there were two trees in the garden? 2 trees. So if we talk in the primordial, that's sun and moon. Sun represents light for knowledge. Moon represents creation for life. But then reverse it, because both represent both. You know, there's a duality. And so that's why man, when Adam comes down, he's split. He was one made by Elohim, taken up to the throne of the sun, and the gnosis was breathed into him. But when he comes down, it says he fell asleep. The falling asleep was coming into this lower realm, and when he wakes up, what does he see? He sees his other half. He's a divided creature. He's split in half, male, female, and so he knows that she's got the power of creating life, and he's got the knowledge to know how to tell her, this is what we got to do. Did the great Elohim not say that if we do this thing, what is the fruit? Well, the fruit is what you do. It said you would know a tree by its fruit, right? Meaning you would know somebody by what they do. It's a metaphor. So that the metaphors we find in our New Testament start at the beginning. There were 2 trees, Adam and Eve. They're the stars on the stage. They're the actors, and we've got to follow the drama and interpret the meaning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, split. You can call it a male and female are opposites, okay? Because in the spirit, there is one, okay? But when creation comes out, you get opposites. You get light and darkness, cold and hot, up and down, in and out. You see, you get the polarities. The opposite is in this creation, in this universe. And so you have to have male, female, you see? And so it says, when it said that, she came out of the rib. When I looked it up, it wasn't rib, it was the royal star. She came out of the royal star. That's the code. That's what was hiding, not the rib. Like we think, oh, he took one of his ribs. No, she came out of the side of the royal star. Okay, here's the code. Let me give it to you on the chat here. Okay, RIB. As you know, I've already defined these things. And therefore, the IB is our code. IB does not exist in nature, okay? It is RAV, okay? RAV. It's Rav. And Rav is ROYALSTAR, royal star, okay? That's the Rav. She came out of the royal star. So just like Adam came out of the royal star, the Garden of the Adams, falsely called Eden, he came out. Well, she came out with him, because when you come into the creation, you have both polarities. He's a divided creature. Isn't that what happens when man and woman come together? In other words, neither one of them can create a baby by themselves, right? You have to have a man, you have to have a woman, and then they come together and they embrace as if becoming one again. And in the alchemy, they then can create life. And that's what it was about. He was telling her that we can create, not that we could live forever. That was the priesthood switch out. Not that we could live forever, but that we could create generations without numbers like the stars of heaven. We could duplicate ourselves. Like all those cute little animals over there we've been watching. You see? He knew it, and she didn't quite get the picture until, he started pointing, and then, and then it says that she checked him out and thought that he was pretty attractive. That's really what it was saying, and that it was good for knowledge. And then she went ahead and reached out for the fruit, and she then gave to him. What did she give to him? And Septuagint says gave him pleasure, not the fruit, but gave him pleasure. Okay, and so this is how our stories have been turned into little Dick and Jane kindergarten readers, when they were a deep sophistication based on symbol and metaphor, but they changed out the words. They changed it out. The AB, okay, the R, just to clarify, it equals royal, and the AV, okay, is star, STAR, okay. So there it is. That's royal star. We're dealing with primary root, okay? Just like mother is represented as MO, okay? There's mother, MO, and also MA, okay? When you see that, you already know what it means. That's the prime root. Therefore, you see it on Moses. Oh, there's the mother who, Asha, because the SES is a corruption of Asha, the mother's royal eye. Wasn't that what Moses was? The mother's royal eye, right? He was the one who saw the suffering of the tribe of ASHAYAACH. He saw the suffering and wanted to save them. He did what he could. He was a royal eye. He was the mother's royal eye, the mother that cares for her babies. You see? Okay? So you've got to read the primary roots, because all the words have just been compounded, but you don't see the prime root and therefore cannot read it. The number one word that represents the R is royal. When you see the AB, it's correctly breaking the code, AV, and that means star. In fact, it means first star. Okay? First star. That's what, like in the legal diction, when they say ab initio in the Latin, ab means from the beginning. Okay? From the beginning. And so the point is that what is the first star? It is our mother star, and that is the sun. Okay? And yeah, it's just it's quite a science. Okay? So anyway, I hope I answered that too, about he lied to his woman. Okay, because he convinced her to do the thing when she heard the warning that if you do this thing, you will die, right? And he says, "Oh, come on, baby, you're not going to die." Because the great Elohim knows that if we do this thing, that we will become like the great Elohim. You see, that was the big lie. Yeah, they would know about light and darkness, but they would not be like the great Elohim, who is perfect. That is Yeshua. You see, the mother star. They came out of the mother star. Okay. And we're like little children, but yet he knew how all the universe operated. He had the head knowledge, and that's the fallen one. That's the bright and shining one that fell, and they converted it into a story about Lucifer because they had to cover the narrative about who the bright and shining one really was. It's the one who named all things. And Just Love, let me see, it says, this is a comical, though, and a man lied to woman. Eve is naive. Who would have thought? Of course, but here's the funniest part about it all, right? The irony. It's not funny. It's irony, because when Yahweh, who is the great Elohim Yeshua, is walking in the light of the garden, the sun is rising, and that's his symbol. And now he's walking in the garden, and he's looking for them. Adam, Keva, where are you? And they said, well, we're over here hiding behind the bushes. He said, because we were naked. And why? Wait a minute. Why were you hiding behind the bushes? Who told you were naked? Put the S in front of naked. What? Naked. What? Hold on. You were snaked. Who told you were a serpent? Who told you were a serpent? And he says, well, the woman that you gave me. Okay, he starts pointing at her. She gave me. And so I enjoyed it. I did it. Okay. And so then he says to the woman, why did you do this thing? And she points back at her husband. He says, well, he told me. it would be okay. And that's the story. He said he did it, and she's pointing at the serpent, but it's the male, and the male has the symbol of the serpent carrying with him, right? And so you see, so they're both pointing at each other. He blaming her, she blaming him, and that's the story of creation from the beginning, right? We got man at odds with woman, and because we're literally like two different animals, literally, right? And as they say, one represents Mars and one represents Venus. They were light and they got naked. Well, that's the whole point, you see, because when we come into this world, we're naked. Unlike all the other creatures that evolved, we did not evolve. We were made, spontaneously generated at the end of the cycle. Well, actually, Adam was made first before all the other living things, as it says. But the Aryan race came last. But the point is that when our coming into the world and being naked, unlike all other creation, right? All other creation is naturally provided for. They have feathers, they got fur, right? They're all covered with whatever nature provides for them, whatever their nature is. They're not naked. They're all, in a natural state. But man, when he comes down with woman, right, they're both missing something, right? They got to put something on. And of course, what did they cover? They covered their private parts. What's the next thing that happened? They had a baby. That's interesting. I put two and two together. Okay, but what is the point of being naked? What does that mean symbolically, right? And interesting that, when we cover ourselves, we're covering the symbol of the garden, because notice how even though we don't have fur all over our bodies, we have hair down in our private area, which is symbol of the secret garden. Because the great irony is that all of our lives, we have been in the secret garden that is the lower garden, and nobody told us. But yet but the year before you went into first grade, you were in the kindergarten. You went to kindergarten, meaning the children of the garden. So the very first place you went to school was called the children of the garden, kindergarten. You see, in the Deutsch, in the Germanic. And so the fact that we're naked, we cover ourselves, we actually covered the trail of that we were in the garden. We never got that. And then he got everybody looking for Eden on earth, when Eden is the Adam, and that's the sun. That's the higher garden. But the fact that we're naked means that there's something else yet that we need to put on. It's symbolic, and what it is that we need to put on is the great breath of light, the wind, the great breath of the wind and fire, the Holy Spirit of the great Father of light. Right? That's what we need, because we're divided when we get the breath, when we get the spirit. No, Ninja, Eden is not the earth. The Adam is the earth, and that's the sun. Okay? Take that one out. It's like this, okay? Okay? There's your Adam. Yeah, remove that one, Ninja. We don't want to be given inaccurate information. Okay, yeah, just you got the wrench there, right? You can do that. Thank you. And so okay, so Eden is a corruption. We've gone over this already. Just listen to the back issues. But so we have to put on the covering. That in the metaphor is the white garment. Remember, we're supposed to be dressed in white robes. The white robe that we put on represents the spirit of life, and the spirit of life is male female. So it's putting the male female back together. The female becomes both female and male. The male becomes both male and female in the spirit. You see, that's the androgyny, because when the division occurred, then you have beginning and ending, and you have death, because that which has a beginning has an end. But spirit is perpetual. It is eternal. And so our spirit comes direct from Yahweh, and therefore is to be married. That's the marriage in the metaphor, the marriage of spirit with spirit, okay? And he wants to rule from the throne of our son, which is our mind and our head, and so these are all the aspects. You never get this on a Sunday pulpit anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You know that? But it seemed logical, Ninja. No, because there's two gardens. Okay, go back and read it. It says that he took Adam out of Eden and placed him into the garden. Okay, So it's like when we read these scriptures, we read them and we go right through it. We didn't get the picture. I did it for so long, and then finally I got it by reading it over and over. And then it's like, wait a minute. There's two gardens. Okay, he takes them out of Eden, places them in the garden. So clearly, this is the lower garden. It says the Eden is in the east. Okay, Eden is a corruption. Eden is a corruption. Okay, the E is not the primary. It's a play on the. It's a corruption. It's a simple. Just Love. You got to go back and listen to some of the the other programs. We've got 100 hours of broadcasting there. When you go back, go listen to yeah. Okay, I can't get into a whole presentation on it. I got another presentation I got to do now. Okay, so right, it says that Eden is in the east. Well, what is the furthest point of the east? It is the sun, and it said that out of the Eden came a river, and the river is the river of light, not a literal river of water, a river of light, and the river parted into the four directions. You see, and so they falsely named on earth, the Tigris and Euphrates, so we would think it's on earth, and they would be totally confused. Remember, these people lie to us. They've lied about everything. And so the narratives that we have received are not true, not correct, they're incomplete, and they are misleading. And therefore, we have to become deep studies ourselves, but they use a code. They've engineered our words. And, how do we ever get back without knowing the tricks that they played on us? And so we identify the lie. And the simplicity is go back, and now that I've given you the clue, the keys, we talked about the keys a little while ago. I've given you the keys. Go back and read it again. Read it real slow and get the picture. Remember, it's been manipulated. It's been manipulated, and so therefore you've got to see the manipulation. You've got to see it, okay? And some people actually just want to think that book was handed to them perfectly, and that nobody would have lied to them, right? Yeah, your preacher wouldn't lie to you, your pastor, the Jesuit, the Mason, the politician, your teacher, your parents. Nobody would lie to you, of course. Everybody's telling the truth. I've already outlived all my grandparents. Because my grandparents died last century because they were convinced to eat white bread, white rice, bleached sugar, and bleached salt. Everything was bleached and destroyed. And then they died in their mid-50s with arthritis and heart failure and all those things. They bought into every lie they were fed, literally fed, and they died young. And he said on the correct version. Well, the two correct versions are George Lambsa. There is no correct version, but the two best are George Lambsa from 1933, from the Aramaic, from the Eastern text, but they wouldn't publish his version the way he wanted to, and so he let him make some changes because he was telling too much truth. So Lambsa would have been the best, and then you compare it with Farrar Fenton. Ninja just got her Farrar Fenton tonight, actually, down under. Okay, because she's been such a wonderful friend of the broadcast by producing a broadcast for us. We thanked her and got her Farrar Fenton so she can see and read it for herself now. So Shelley, maybe you want to put those books up real quick so they could see, the copy and know what books to get. That would be great. And then Just Love, you had one more, and then we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to get into our read. Okay, Just Love, you had what's this? No Way. Okay. You had Adam fell from heaven. No. Oh yeah. You said no way. Adam fell from heaven? ? Okay. And let's see here. Covered up by the. Yeah. So this is the thing. You see, you heard it. You heard it, and then all of a sudden it was like, you were realizing you were hearing something you never heard before. Adam fell not from heaven. Heaven is a code word. Heaven it can be the cosmos. Heaven could be the sky. Or heaven is the primary code for the sun. And so he fell from the sun. Both of those books are about $36, $35 for both books. Okay, don't go to Amazon. You'll pay more. Go to artisanpublishers.com. Tell them I sent you. Okay, and they'll get it to you pronto. It took 7 days to get it to Australia. I can't get over it. They did such a great job getting it to down there to Ninja. But these are the two books that if you have both of these books and you compare them, this will get you back closer to the original than you could ever get with any other, ladies and gentlemen. And I also recommend Young's Concordance. We typically use Strong's, right? But there's Young's Analytical Concordance. Okay, Young's Analytical Concordance you can get from CBD.com. That's Christian Book Distributors in Peabody, Massachusetts. CBD.com. That's Young's Analytical Concordance. Okay, Young, and he also did a literal translation of the scriptures as well, and that would be the other one that you would want to get if you want to compare one more, because Young had he reveals a lot. So, but it's an awkward read because he's doing a literal translation. But Young's translation of the Bible, that's also at CBD.com. So those would be the four main books to get from a biblical, from a Bible, what we call the Bible, which originally would be shofar. The shofar is the Bible. The shofar, the soul fire. That's the soul fire from the center of the sun, because everything came out of the light. Okay, we have to see things like we've never seen them before, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, in a way we've not. So Adam was up there. He is known as the bright and shining one because the knowledge that allowed the Aryan race, the priesthood, to build all the civilizations around the world came from their father Adam, because it said there was nobody more superior in the creation than him. He was the first made on earth. He's taken up to the throne of the Son, and then he names all things while all creation is unfolding. And then at the end of the creation, he comes last. He comes down, he falls asleep, and he wakes up in the lower garden. He sees his other half. They're both naked. They're missing something. What he had up there when he was clothed with the light is now different when he comes down here to the lower garden. And then he falls into sensual selfishness because he now wants her. And so he's willing to lie, just like a baby, about the cookie jar, Don't go in that cookie jar, I'm going out for a while. When I come back, I want to, I'll give you some cookies then. And they're looking at that jar saying, hey, I think I want one of those cookies. Mom won't know. Come on, let's do it. Yeah. So, the cookies. Okay. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And so Adam, so heaven is a code. We've got to see and read things for ourselves, but we've got to learn the code first. And so that's what we're bringing on right here. Okay. We're doing it. Of course we're doing it. Right. And that's what we do here. We're code breakers. Even in the Hebrew Bible, they're telling you, they call theirs the Sefer. Okay. The Sefer is cipher. Cipher is a code. Okay. It's a code. And, So it's not Sefer, it's Shulfar, the knowledge that goes far. The knowledge goes far, the soul fire. You see, all of that's in one word, Shulfar. Shul is knowledge, okay? And it's also Shulfar time, supper time, Shulfar, because they ring the bell. Dinner served, come on in. They're ringing the bell, Shulfar. I hear it from afar, dinner time. Oh, okay. Knocking on heaven's door. Yeah, there you go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard it here first, and we're going to go to a musical break. And when we get back, we will be with the story, part 3, on Isaac and the ultimate sacrifice. It wasn't just a test of Zavramhaim, it was a test of ASHAYAACH as well, who was going to represent by his desire to give his life as a sacrifice the Mo'ashiach who would come at the end of time. That was 2,000 years ago, at the end of an age, the age of darkness, when he ushered in the golden age of light and reason, the age of the second born that we are still in today, but it's been covered up by the darkness, the occultic. But there's two worlds here. There's a world of darkness and a world of light. You have been given free choice. Whatever you want, you can have, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm Dezert-Owl. Glad you're tuned in. Still time to call your friends if you want, and want to welcome any new listeners that are out there. And if you're hearing this thing for the first time, then I know you're saying you're hearing it for the first time and you're trying to figure it out, and that's okay, because we're you've got to hear several programs, to really begin to follow the trail that we're on. Okay, it deals with the code, and it is the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, what was breathed into Adam, the original alphabet, not what the priesthood corrupted and gave to us. Look at that pathetic Hebrew? You think, you want to learn that pathetic Hebrew? How come they don't have a circle? How come they don't have a letter A? How come they don't have what is the natural code within our modern day, A, B, C, D, what we call the capital letters or the Phoenician alphabet? Huh? How come they don't have anything that looks like that? What do you want to learn? The funny little squiggly Greek? Well, wait a minute. The Greek originally used all the capital letters that we use today. We find on our driver's license the capital letters. That's the original Greek. But then when you look in the Strong's Concordance, all of a sudden there's a switch out. Wait a minute. Where those capital letters go? We find on the Greek monuments. Go look at any Greek monument. You'll see our modern day A. You'll see the V. You'll see the O, the L. You'll see all those letters that are on our modern day capital letters. But when you go to your Strong's Concordance, you find these little squiggles. They want you to read these little squiggles. It's called demonic. Sounds like demonic, doesn't it? Because it is demonic. It's theirs. It's their moniker. Okay? It's the moniker. That's the moniker is them. Confusion, Babylon, all the way. So stay in by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We've got ground travel, and we're on a roll, and it's an egg roll. But when we get done, we'll be able to eat it, okay? Because we have to eat some things we've never consumed before, and that's the knowledge of truth from the tree's root. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Glad you're tuned in.
The road is long, with a many a winding tongue that leads us to who knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago.
Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls have picked them, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? And where have all the young girls gone? Long time passing. Where have all the young girls gone? Long time ago. Long time ago. Nice. Where have all the young girls gone? To young men, everyone. Gone to young men, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? Where have all the young men gone? Where have all the young men gone? Long time past, where have they gone? Where have all the young men gone? Long time ago. Where have all the young men gone? For soldiers, gone for soldiers, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn?
Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone? Gone to graveyards, everyone.
Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? And where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? Where have all the flowers gone?
Where have all the flowers gone?
Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls have picked them, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever
And welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know. And but you wanted to know, of course, right? That's why you're tuned in here. And I want to just thank Just Love again for posing good questions on the calls. You know, the thing I love about getting, and nobody calls in, so that's other than Ninja. And so that's your problem. You see, you don't call in. I'd love to have you call in because you never know where we're going to go, and you might be answering a question for somebody else at the same time. If you got the question, and I just love the challenge of trying to go in a direction I didn't know we might be going in, and it's we discover something together. Even that's happened to me throughout my life like that, and so I appreciate the interaction. This is an interactive program. We're supposed to have a call-in program here, and we've given out the numbers. And Ninja, did you? I know your schedule's kind of anxious out there, but 45 minutes, okay, very good. Then perhaps we'll get you to call in. So in the meantime, we're going to go into the book of Yashar, which is commonly known as Jasher, and it's referred to twice in Joshua and also in 2 Samuel, and it's the complete exhaustive edition, and it is originally was published by J.H. Parry and Company in 1810. And thank you, Shelley. Yeah, the Book of Jasher, and it is Artisan Publishers again. They've got the collection by Raymond Capp. Raymond Capp was the one who discovered this. It was printed for the first time in English in the 1800s, and then it went out of print because they didn't want it out again, and but then Raymond Capp found a used copy from the 1800s with Jonathan Bird Booksellers up in Indianapolis at the time, and so he republished it in softcover version, and so now we've got it. We almost lost it actually. Finally, after all those years, the Jewish Society is hiding it from us. The Balei Suits, and then we finally get it. One apparent Jew who he decided he could make money on it, and therefore he published it, and had to come to America to get it published. So that's how that happened. All right. And Just Love, you're saying I may have more questions. They always pop up in your head. Of course, we all have questions. We're still trying to answer it, and I'm going to need more light now, and I think I'm going to have to turn off that air conditioner. So this is bad for radio, but what can I say? We're the real public radio. I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ouch, just hit my elbow. Yeah, okay, so we're going to now go into some territory we've never been before, and we're going to hear the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say, okay? And by the way, the part that we have, in what most people don't realize, they all want to parrot the non-truth that what we call the 5 books of Moses was written by Moses. I mean, the guy's name isn't even Moses; that's Moeshan. And then also, he couldn't possibly have written about his own death, and the death is there. But when you do the scholarship, the homework, and the scholarship, then you find out that basically what we call the 5 books of Moses, which came out of Babylon, by the way. Okay, it was after Israel was already abolished. And what came back was the Babylonian Talmud and the pseudo-Israel, okay? Even though many of them were originally descended from Israel, the state of Israel was no longer, okay? And and that's part of this, where you got to read the symbolism, okay? You got to read the symbolism. But so the 5 books of Moses are basically a compilation of several works, at least 5, okay? But the main body is what's called the J text, and that's another code because it should be correctly called the Yahwistic text, and that was from the tribe of Judah, and then the other text of the northern tribe. I've got it all down there. It's hard for me to keep all this stuff in my head all the time, but I write down underneath the video. If you open it up, you'll see where I've been pasting it on each of the programs, okay? And so just read that. And there's the priesthood text, which is Deuteronomy, which is fully priesthood, and so you can follow. And the Book of Jasher is another book that they also then draw from. They drew from several sources, is basically what they did, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And so do some homework on these key terminologies. On the computer, you can research and pull stuff up really quick. And okay, so that, in other words, the old axiom is the truth is out there. You just have to look for it. Okay, and so let's see where we're at here. Okay, and we're okay. It's so I'm in Book of Jasher, and I'm in the middle of a chapter here already, verse 40. And it's chapter 22, the number of perfection. I like that because we're going to find out that Zavramhaim and ASHAYAACH, Isaac, Abraham and Isaac were perfect. And it's in the perfect number of chapter 22. And verse 40 coming out of the wilderness. How about that? Verse 40, coming out of the wilderness into the true promised land of enlightenment and acceptance by the great Yahweh. I never noticed that before. That is absolutely stellar. And okay, and so this is where we're going to pick it up. And ASHAYAACH, the Zan of Zavramhaim, and by the way, I read in original thought. I transliterate as I go with certain words, ladies and gentlemen, because when we put the original thought back, we get pictures, okay? And we've got to get pictures in order to see deeply what these words mean. In other words, when you have a boy, you say you have a son, right? But the son is the son. The S-O-N is the S-U-N, and it's correctly Zan, meaning of infinite potential. Infinite potential. Yeah, Jasher 20, chapter 22, verse 40. Crystal, you got a copy? Cool. My number in what is that? Basketball? Okay. Don't know. Okay. All right. So I was really bad at basketball. I was third string. I got to warm the bench all through the game. All right. So in ASHAYAACH, the Zan of Zavramhaim. Let me take one more sip of my drink before I get on a roll here. Okay. And I assume my audio's coming in good. I guess we're a 10 on the audio, or somebody would mention it. So okay. So Isaac, the Zan of Zavramhaim, or Isaac, the son of Abraham, was growing up in those days. And Zavramhaim, his father, taught him the way of Yahweh, says the way of the Lord, but Lord is a code for Yahweh. To know the Yahweh. So he taught him the ways of Yahweh, to know the Yahweh, and the Yahweh was with him. And when ASHAYAACH was, get this, 37 years old, Ishmael, his older brother, born of a slave, was going about with him in the tent. And Ishmael boasted of himself to ASHAYAACH, Isaac, saying, I was 13 years old when the Yahweh spoke to my father to circumcise us. And I did according to the Eshavor, the word of the Yahweh, which he spoke to my father. And I gave my soul unto the Yahweh, and I did not transgress his Eshavor, his word, which he commanded my father. And ASHAYAACH, Isaac, answered Ishmael, why do you boast to me about this thing, about a little bit of your flesh, which you did take from your body, concerning which the Yahweh commanded you? As the Yahweh lives, the Yahweh of my father, Zavramhaim, if the Yahweh should say unto my father, take now your Zan ASHAYAACH and bring him up as an offering before me, I would not refrain nor refuse, but I would joyfully accede to it. Whoa, huh? See, story they never, where did this, how come this didn't make it in our scriptures, huh? The image of Yeshua, the ASHAYAACH. Why did they change ASHAYAACH into Isaac? Okay. And the Yahweh heard the Eshavor that ASHAYAACH Isaac spoke to Ishmael, Notice they both have the Asha. They both have Asha in their name because Zavraham named Ashama'ul because he thought he was going to get the inheritance. But then he finds out, oh, no, not from the slave woman, but by promise through my wife. And so then he gets the name Asha Ma, yeah, my head's spinning. ASHAYAACH. You know, and so both have Asha because they're carrying the royal title of the tribe. Asha is the royal, means royal eye, and this is the royal eye. The another term would be Nazare. The Nazare, the ray that comes down, the vein on the vein, as in Hebrew also means the Avre, the star rays. See, all of these different terms are relative to each other, and but nobody talks about them, of course, because they covered the light. They hate the light. Is this the YHVH? Yeah. Well, Yavol, you know, it's Yal. It's like this. Let me do this real quick. Hang on. It's YH. Thank you for asking. Okay, YHVH is YAHLL vol VOL HAY. I put the apostrophes in there just to help, okay? But it's Yavol He. Yal for that which goes round, the Vol for the infinite volumes of creation, the light that never stops shining, the creation that continues to unfold on earth in the emerald fire, in the green of life. And the He is the breath of the eye. The breath of the eye. The breath, and also it's plural. Yavol, well, if you put an M at the end, then you get the plurality of the Haim for the breath of the many. Okay? But yeah, so that's the essence of it. And of course, they mispronounce it as Yahweh, but there's no W. The W is a code that came from the M out of the Aramaic, and they flipped it over. You see, this is how the trickery occurred. But the the W is covering up really for the V, and that's how that works, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, thank you, Fix It Flat. Yeah, I guess you're getting the picture here. Good. Yeah, it's you know, there's a lot of great researchers out there, you know, with big hearts and are sincerely trying to unravel the mystery, and they see the problem. But all I know is Yeshua, in the grace of, you know, the light of the Father of light. You know, he gave me the original root forms. He got me past the Greek and the Hebrew to what was breathed in first by the primitive, knowing the mystery. In other words, I studied, you know, ancient tradition, right? But then I got into modern political activism, and I learned about the conspiracy against mankind. It just didn't happen yesterday. The conspiracy has been ongoing, you know, from the beginning. And so it's knowing the tricks, the trap, and the trade, and then being able to. So once you can see that, then you can unravel the mystery. But Yeshua is still the revealer, still the one who brings it to the table. I'm not smart enough to do this. It is really Yeshua. He's my tree of knowledge. Okay, he said there's nothing unknown that cannot be known, nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. Okay, so where are we going here? I want to back up. Okay, so we just got the bragging contest by Isaac and Ishmael, and we found out that Ishmael was going to be happy to Isaac, ASHAYAACH, was happy to sacrifice himself. And so it says then, so the Yahweh heard the word that Isaac spoke to Ishmael, and it seemed good in the sight of Yahweh, and he thought to test Abraham in this matter. And a day arrived when the seed of the sun, that's the sons of God, but it's referring to the Aryan line. They are the seeds of the sun gods, right? The seed of light. That's what it means. Sons of God is a corruption, a code on the original. And it came to place themselves. So again, I'll read. And on the day arrived when the seed of the sun came and placed themselves before the Yahweh. And the great Dolofim also came with the seed of the sun before the Yahweh. Okay, but here they did a switch out. I made a major discovery And what it is they put the word Satan in here with a capital S, and they literally gave the name to the great Elohim, Satan, the one who is the logo, the great represents the logo, and who we called the great Elohim, but is also Yeshua. And what they did is they switched it out, a great switch out. Okay, whether it was the Jew who gave us this translation, or whether it was prior in the Hebrew itself, because originally it was in Aramaic and it became Hebrew. Okay, but this is amazing, and I'm going to show you right as soon as I get through this part right here in Lamsa, where Yahweh is talking to the great Elohim, who is Yeshua. There, okay, and this is remember where it says, "And behold, they have become as one of us." Remember, that statement is made in plural. Somebody's talking to somebody else, and he said, "Behold, they have become like one of us now to know good and evil." Okay, so that's Yahweh speaking to his son, Yeshua, as the great Elohim. Okay, Elohim is the corruption, Elohim is the original, and and so we have to realize that a major trickery has gone on to deceive us from original thought, and it's like they changed words in a drastic way to confuse the mind, ladies and gentlemen. The light became the darkness becomes the light. And the Vatican is holding the keys. They're holding the keys, and the Pope is sitting on the chair with the keys behind his head. Okay? So you got to know the truth about that and realize that we have to see and read it for ourselves and become scholars and experts at this game. It's a game they played on us. So it is, and the Yahweh and the great Elohim also came, meaning the sun came, the light at high noon. That's what it implies, because the sun is the logo. And the Yahweh said unto the great Elohim, "From where do you come?" And the great Elohim answered to the Yahweh and said, "From going up and going down upon the earth, from walking up and going down." And you see, that's symbolic of the sunrise, going up, going around, going up, going around, okay? Day after day. And the Yahweh said to the great Elohim, the great logo, the sun, okay? What is, in other words, Yeshua, right? Because Yeshua represents Yahweh. Yeshua is the active agent in this universe, and the sun is his logo, and that is the great Elohim in the corrupted form. I know when you've not heard these things before, I got to keep repeating it over and over, because you've got to, it's got to, you've got to hear it multiple times in different ways, and that's what I'm, attempting to do here, so you can see it, because nobody talks about this. Okay, and he said, and so, and the Yahweh said unto the great Elohim, "What is the word, the Eshavor, to me concerning all the seed of the earth? What do you have to say? Right? Give me your report." And the Yahweh, or excuse me, the great Elohim answered the Yahweh, and he said, "I have seen all of the seed of the earth who serve you and remember you when they require anything from you." That's when they come to you, when they need something. And when you give them the thing which they require from you, they then sit at ease, and they forsake you and remember you no more. And have you not seen Zavramhaim, the seed of Terah, who at first had no seed, and he served you and erected altars to you, wherever he came, and he brought up offerings upon them, and he proclaimed thy name continually before all the seed of the earth. And now his son ASHAYAACH is born from him, and he has forsaken you. He has made great feasts for all the inhabitants of the land, and the Yahweh he has forgotten. And so this is a dialogue. What we're reading here is a dialogue that, how we get it, we'll never know. But it's euphemistic in a way, right? In other words, it's a dramatic expression, like a father talking to a son talking to his father, and he's pointing out, look, he's done a feast and everything, but he didn't do the oblation that we would expect as an oblation, right? And so that's what he's saying here. And so And so now his son ASHAYAACH is born of him, and he has forsaken you, and made a great feast for all the inhabitants of the land, and the Yahweh he has forgotten. And for amidst all that he has done, he brought you no offering, neither burnt offering nor peace offering, neither ox, lamb, or goat of that he killed on the day that his son was weaned. Even from the time his Zan's birth until now, being 37 years. He built no altar before you, nor brought any offering to you, for he saw that you did give what he requested before you, and he therefore forsook you. And the way it would be said was, it appears that he has forsaken you. You see, and so the Yahweh said unto the great Olofhaim, have you not considered have you not incorrectly have you considered incorrectly my Sharfan, my servant Zabramhaim? You see, because now the question's coming up, and he's saying you have considered wrong. For there is none like him upon the earth, a perfect and an upright Ashan before me, one that fears Yahweh and avoids the darkness. And as I live, were I to say unto him, bring up ASHAYAACH your Zan before me, bring up Isaac your son before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more if I told him to bring up a burnt offering before me from his flock or herds. And the Sharfan, the great Olofhaim, answered the Yahweh and said, speak then now to Zabramhaim as you have said, and you will see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside his Ashavors. At that time, the Ashavor of the Yahweh came to Zabramhaim, and he breathed unto him. The one of the many. Him is one of the many in the original thought. Zabramhaim, and he breathed, I am here. And he said unto him, take now your Zan, your only loved seed. That's what it is said as we read Josephus. It's not his only son, because that's what it says here in Jasher. But we know Ishmael was also his son. It is his only loved seed, his only love. That's what Yeshua was before Yahweh, the only loved seed. And that's why we have to be in Yeshua. And then we will be only loved as well. Whom you love, even ASHAYAACH, Isaac, and go into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which shall be shown to you, for there wilt thou see a cloud and the illumination of the Yahweh. And Zabramhaim said within himself, how shall I separate my Zan ASHAYAACH from Ashareha? That's Sarah. Ashareha, the royal eye and the breath. The royal eye and the ray of light of breath. His mother, in order to bring him up for a burnt offering before the Yahweh. And Zabramhaim came into the tent, and he said before Ashareha, Sarah, his wife, and he spoke these Ashavors to her, these words. My Zan ASHAYAACH is grown up, and he has not for some time studied the service of the great Olofhaim. Now, tomorrow I will go and bring him to Shem, who is correctly Asham. Shem is Asham, who is also Melchizedek, in Jerusalem, and Yarul Shalom. And Avar, not Eber, but Avor, his Zan. There's the center of the eye, the Avor, the center of the eye again. So powerful when you get these words back to the original. And there he will learn the ways of Yahweh, for they will seed plant him to know the Yahweh, as well as to know when he creates light continually before the Yahweh. And he will answer him, therefore, there he will know the way of serving the Yahweh, his great Elohim. And so this is a powerful statement. I highlighted it here. Listen, and it is this is like paramount for our own spiritual walk to know this truth. And then he will know the Yahweh, as well as to know that when he creates light continually before the Yahweh will answer him. Okay? When he creates light continually before the Yahweh will answer him. That is the foundation of the victory of light, ladies and gentlemen, of the what we call faith. The victory of light, that we will continually create light until we have our light creation answered. Okay, we are extensions of light, and we can create light. And Yochelleg, thank you. Let there be zorain. Let there be light. Let there be zorain. And therefore he will know the way of serving the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim. And ASHAYAACH, Sarah, said, "You have spoken well. Go, my sunrise, and do unto him as you have breathed. But remove him not at a great distance from me, neither let him remain there too long, for my soul, is bound within his soul." And Abraham said unto ASHAYAACH, "My daughter, let us create light before the Yahweh, our great Elohim, that he may be perfect with us." And ASHAYAACH took her Zen, ASHAYAACH, and he abode all that night with her, and she kissed and embraced him and gave him instructions until the dawn. I got to turn off that fan, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by for a second. And want to welcome any new listeners out there. You are tuned in to part 3 of the true sacrifice of ASHAYAACH, Isaac. Okay, and you won't hear this anywhere else. And it's a shame, that as it says in Revelations, that the beast system has deceived the entire world, and what a deception that is. That's a total deception. And so it's a little pocket right here, bring it forth. Most people are just parroting scripture, but they never can interpret a word or interpret the true symbols, because they've all been hidden from us, basically, right? Zorain, indeed. Very, very good. Crystal's getting it. And okay, and she said to him, "Oh, my true and perfect Zan, my son, how can my shul separate itself from you?" And she still kissed him and embraced him, and she gave Abraham instructions concerning him. And remember, she's like 120 years old. Okay, she had him when he was she was 90, I think, 90 years old, or something like that, or 80. I can't remember now. I think Abraham was 90. And so you can imagine her feelings for him, and they're strangers and pilgrims. They're nomads, and he's going away, and after they waited so long to have him, a lifetime, right? And thank you, Just Love, very good. I'm glad. And this is what it's all about, defining this is our legacy. This is our story. This is our tradition. This is given to us. All of these Eshavors came to us from the throne of the sun, from the light of Yahweh, through the great Elohim, and it's for our transcendence to see these things, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and ASHAYAACH breathed unto Abraham, my true and perfect sunrise, I create light. I create light, and take heed of my Zan, and place your eyes over him to protect him. And I have no other Zan nor daughter but him. Oh, forsake him not. If he be hungry, give him bread, and if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. And do not let him go on foot, neither let him sit in the sun. Sounds like a mother, huh? Mother who really loves and concerned. It's a tragic story here. There's a good story part of this, and then there's a tragic one. that follows, and we'll go there. Neither let him go by him, and she has no idea that he's about to be sacrificed. Imagine how Zavramhaim would have felt in his heart. He had to obey Yahweh, and he's taken her son away, and he's going to sacrifice him, and he knows it. He absolutely knows. He has no idea that he's not going to sacrifice him, because he's already been told, give me your son as a perfect sacrifice. And so continuing, neither let him go by himself in the road, neither force him from whatever he may desire, but do unto him as he may say unto you. And ASHAYAACH wept bitterly and the whole night on account of ASHAYAACH, and she gave him instructions till the early dawn. And in the dawning, ASHAYAACH selected a very fine and beautiful garment from those garments which she had in the house, and Abimelech had also given to her. And she dressed ASHAYAACH her Zan therewith, and she put a turban upon his head, and she enclosed a precious stone in the top of the turban. And she gave them provisions for the road, and they went forward. And ASHAYAACH went with his father Zavramhaim, and some of their servants accompanied them to see them on the road. And of course that was Eleazar, and Eleazar, who is mispronounced as Eleazar, and also Ishmael, the other two that could have received the inheritance. And ASHAYAACH went out with them, and she accompanied them upon the road to see them off. And they said to her, return to your tent. And when ASHAYAACH heard these ashavors of her son ASHAYAACH, she wept bitterly. And Zavramhaim, her husband, wept with her. And their Zan wept, their son wept with them, a great weeping. Also those who went with them, wept greatly. And ASHAYAACH caught hold of her son, her Zan ASHAYAACH, and she held him in her arms, and she embraced him and continued to weep with him. And ASHAYAACH breathed, who knows if after this Dayel I will ever see you again. And they still wept together, Zavramhaim, ASHAYAACH, and ASHAYAACH. And all those that accompanied them on the road wept with them. And ASHAYAACH afterwards turned away from her Zan, weeping bitterly, and all of her Ashan serpents, her men servants, and her maid servants returned with her to the tent. And Zavramhaim went with ASHAYAACH his Zan to bring him up as an offering before the Yahweh, and he, the eye, he is the eye, had commanded him. And these little words I'll do a presentation on one day so you can see these smaller words in the original thought. And Zavramhaim took 2 of his young men with him. And here they are. Now they're named. Now you got it for the record. Okay, Ishmael, the Zan of Hagar. Okay, Ishmael is Ishmael, the Zan of Hagar, the slave, and Eleazar, who is correctly Eleazar, his serpent. And they went together with them. And whilst they were walking in the road, the young Ashan spoke these words to themselves. He's calling them young men, but they weren't young men. They were older than ASHAYAACH, Isaac. Okay, they were older. So we see there are some problems within the translation here, which is typical to all translations, and we have to then be able to become masters over the translation. We have to not be controlled by the words, but know that we're in control of the thought, the original thought, and the ashavors, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that would be Ishmael. That would be right. Ninja. Thank you. And Ishmael. So Ishmael, okay, Ishmael, the royal eye of the mother with vision. Okay, there's the royal eye of the mother with vision, and okay, so that's the name that was given to Ishmael by Zavramhaim, Abraham. But so he was naming his son what he thought he should be called. And so then the second born becomes ASHAYAACH. And so it's even more superior because it means with the power, the royal eye of power. So it starts out as the royal eye of vision, but then it ends with the royal eye of power. So you see, before you can have a royal eye of power, you have to have a royal eye of vision, right? It starts with vision, and then if you maintain and you go on and become the second born, then you've got power. Okay, so you see how it fits? It's telling a story, and so this is the beauty behind putting the Eshavors back. Okay, and so continuing here, and and they went together with them, and so while the Ulazar and Eshama'ul were walking on the road, they spoke with each other, Eshavors, to themselves, and Eshama'ul said to Ulazar, "Now my father Zavramhaim is going with ASHAYAACH to bring him up for a burnt offering to the Yahweh as he commanded him." Now you see, Eshama'ul knew that intuitively. He had a royal eye. You see what I was just saying about his title, Eshama'ul. He had the royal eye to see because he realized that what ASHAYAACH had told them in the tent, that he would give himself as a sacrifice. Eshama'ul realized that that was what was about to happen. He just said it right here. I'm seeing this for the first time, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I was saying when we do the stuff together. And thank you, Ninja, again, because she's processing. She's a physical processor over there, and now she's got her book of Jasher on top of that, and her Fenton scriptures, and she's just come to another level. And she's and so what happens in this interaction is we see things together for the first time. It's beautiful. And so he's offering himself as he was commanded. Now when he returns, he will give unto me. And then when he returns unto me, he will give me all that he possesses to inherit after him, for I am the firstborn. So literally what Ishmael is thinking was, and good riddance, because then guess what? I get all the material possessions. That's what he's thinking, right? Because he sees that this is about to happen. And because I guess they realize they don't have any other animal to sacrifice. So the question is, wait a minute, weren't we supposed to be taking a sacrifice? Where is the sacrifice, right? Okay, and so Ulazar answered Eshama'ul, and he said, "Surely Zavramhaim did cast you away with your mother, and swore that you would not inherit anything of all he possesses, and to whom he will he give all that he has with all of his treasures. But unto me, his faithful serpent, who has been faithful in his house, who has served him night and day, and has done all that he desired me to do, to me he will bequeath at his death all that he possesses." So you see, all they're being caught up in is, gaining the wealth, getting material wealth, when ASHAYAACH is going there to give his life. He's given his life while they're thinking about getting the gold. You know what I mean? And so it's rather interesting narrative that we have here. And while Zavramhaim was producing with his Zan, ASHAYAACH, along the road, the serpent came and appeared to Zavramhaim in a figure of a very aged man, humble and contrite in spirit. And he approached Zavramhaim and breathed unto him, "Are you silly and brutish, that you're going to do this thing, this Dael, to your only Zan?" And I'll tell you what, I want to pace myself because we got a ways to read yet. Shelley, if we can go to a song, and then I'm not going to forget to mute myself out this time, okay? And then when we get back, we're going to pick it up. And let me mark my place here. And are you silly and do this thing? Yeah, this is a good stopping point. I just need to pace myself, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I want to welcome any new listeners out there. We're trying to unravel the great mysteries of life here, and it begins with the words, the Eshavors, and you're hearing terminology that you don't hear read anywhere. You're hearing Indo-Germanic. You're hearing the most primitive form of of communication. Okay, and it's what they didn't want you to know. And so congratulations on stumbling into an arena that this is a phenomena happening on our planet right here, center point. And I wish it were all over. I wish we would have received our original scriptures. I wish nobody would have messed with them. But the beast system runs the world, right? And so naturally they would have changed our words and changed the scriptures and stole the majority of it. We had a library. Okay? And instead what we ended up with was a remnant. And it was James Moffat, who gave us the Bible in 1922, another version, another very exclusive and unique version, worth getting. Very expensive book too, about $55 on Amazon. The Bible by James Moffat. And he said in a lecture in the 1920s in England, he said that of all the religious books in the world, of all the religious cultures, the Bible is the smallest collection of religious writings. That is the New Testament for Christianity, is the smallest collection of religious writings of any other culture. How could that be, that the greatest story on earth, the one who made all things, made the universe, and then of all the other scriptures, like the Vedas or, all the other traditions, that we've got the smallest amount of scripture? You see, they stole it from us. A library. It was in Syria. It was called in the town of Caesarea, and it was Eusebius. He took the library to the Eastern Roman Empire. Okay, and they buried it all under the Library of Sophia. Okay, and we lost the library, and so what we have is a remnant. Now we're finding other lost writings and pulling them back together, and making the comparisons. Okay, the light is shining, ladies and gentlemen. That's the good news. Let there be Zorain. Okay. And we'll be right back after another musical break. So glad you're tuned in. Hope you are telling your friends. And thank you, Shelley. Okay, got it.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
One morning I woke up and I knew it all. A new day, a new way, and new eyes to see it all. Go the way of the mind, get gone. The sky is clearing and the night is bright. The sun, he come, the world is open up. Rejoice, rejoice, we
And welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. I got logged out of the account here. I don't know what happened, but so I was going to say thanks for stopping by to fix it and fix it, Fox. Okay, so thanks and yeah, and also Texas. How did he go by that? Made in Texas, was that? Anyway, just thank you, Texas, for stopping by. And I know we're running over. And what I was thinking, I still got a bunch of read here, and since people are having to go, I don't want to keep people up. And it's a late program. We have another broadcast coming up on Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time. And so maybe what I'll do is I'll save the rest of this read because I know Ninja wants to call in. And so we'll just take one call from Ninja. If there's anybody else who wants to call, okay, after Ninja, I will take the call. If you want to figure something out or, just make a comment real quick or anything, I'm willing to stay up for that, all right? But I think for the read, we should post it right where we're at right there. And that's where we're at. So we're waiting for Ninja to call. And I guess Ninja's going to call, right? Ninja, you're throwing a bunch of hearts around there. Am I broadcasting? And, she's calling. Okay, thank you. Way to go, Ninja.
Stand by.
Stand by. Okay, I'm sitting. I'm going to sit by. All right.
Ninja.
G'day.
Good.
Hang on. Oh, turn it down again. Hang on.
Kick it down a notch.
Okay, g'day.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, Ninja.
Desert. G'day again.
Good day, good evening, good dawn. All right.
How's it going?
You're always listening in on the program, and then you ask me, how's it going? Don't you?
Oh, no.
Where were you? Okay, you been listening in?
Yes, I even got to read a few chapters with you.
Oh, yeah, in Jasher.
Yes. I didn't
great,
get to.
huh?
Yeah, I didn't get to read the whole thing with you, but I got to read a couple. And it's so powerful. Thank you. Thank you.
And you get to see how I transliterate right on the page, right? To get the picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, I'm overwhelmed with wows.
Yeah. Right.
I know Fix It just left, but I just wanted to thank him. Thank you, Fix It. If you listen back, when I saw your as most of you know, as we all are at the moment, my struggle's been really bad lately, and at the same time, while I'm struggling, I'm seeing more and feeling the power of Yeshua and the ASHAYAACH, and good things are happening at the same time. And coming across Fix It's testimonial video last night was the perfect time. He said words that I needed to hear, and he said it beautifully. And so I'd Fix It. I just wanted to thank you for that. I hope you listen back and you hear this. So yeah.
Wonderful. And how big is that Fenton Bible?
Huge. I didn't think it was in the box when I first got it, because the box felt lighter. And then it's huge. I'm surprised it's not heavier than what it is, because it's a very thick book. Yeah,
right.
It's beautiful.
Hardcover, burgundy, and beautiful white pages, and a style of arrangement in the scriptures unlike any other book out there. And he's got dates going all the way through the book. The date goes along with it, so you know what period you're in. Absolutely.
Cool. I can't wait to look through it later on. Wow. I had things that I wanted to, like words and things, but I couldn't write anything down because I was getting mum ready, and I was seeing so much. I'm just looking through the chat to see if anything. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the word weep, W-E-E-P. Yeah, because Crystal mentioned there's a verse in the Bible that mentions Jesus wept. So it would be different. It would be Yeshua did something. Did he weep? Is that the correct word
In the
there?
Fenton, you mean in the Fenton scriptures?
I don't know. It's in the chat. Crystal says,
Well,
by the way,
right. That's
Jesus
that's
wept.
a
Shortest verse in the
classic.
Bible.
Yeah, that's it's the smallest verse in the New Testament, and it says Jesus wept, and that's
Yeah.
2 words. So yeah, and so what it says in the Fenton, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's very likely it's a little different. Hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the word weep, that's all, because of the letters that make up that word.
Okay, weep.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
W-E-E-P.
yeah. Well, we could the term weep. We don't use that word really much, but we could say he cried. That would be a way that it could be said. It was an emotional thing that he was going through because it was his good buddy Ulazar, correctly, not Lazarus, but Elazar. They hid the word Elazar right there because that's a power word. That's what we got to follow through the scriptures. These people being called Elazar because it's telling a story again. And so Ulazar, was his buddy, Yeshua's buddy from childhood, and then the 2 sisters. And so he was triggered emotionally because he let his friend die, but the girls, the sisters, didn't know, and their hearts were broken, and they were in distress, and so as the mourners, we see what they call mourners. The Eastern tradition is very different. We're so traumatized and I don't know the right word for it, but our emotions are not like in the East, and so the people back then got very emotional and were very, very tied, like we just saw with the story about ASHAYAACH, how she was crying. The whole family was crying, because he was going somewhere, and
People
then
are
even their
afraid
friends.
to show their emotions in
and then
front of.
and then their friends, the friends that were there, the servants, all of them, everyone was crying, and so it's indicative of the culture back then, and it's very different, very different in the way they're raised and all of that. Even the men, in the East, men kissed each other, on the cheek, right? They went, both sides of the cheek and kissed each other, and that was routine. That was it.
And now it's
wrong.
seen as
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Linda, and lava you, and sleep well. Yeah. Linda's leaving.
Okay, Linda. Thank you for stopping by. Good to have you.
Yeah. Also, I saw in the word weep, as you were speaking just then. Weeping, crying is a release. It's a release of I don't know. It can be good and bad. Like you can cry from happiness. You can cry from sadness. But I was seeing it as sadness. It's a release of bad things, bad energy, and that made me think of reaping.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with it. Like harvesting.
Well, as they say, when you cry,
releasing.
you release toxins.
Yeah.
So there's sure.
Yeah. And if you handed that all over to Yeshua, I don't know how to explain it. You explain things better, Desert, but I'm seeing it.
Okay.
You're not going to help me, are you?
This one's yours. I'm letting you explain it. I'm taking a break.
I'm sorry.
She's wanting to pass it back to me. All right.
I'm trying.
Hoping I'll save her. All right.
When you in your past live streams, I'm sorry. I'm releasing right now. in your past live streams, like I'll mention the parallel here as well. There's a parallel with the deception regarding the harvest. They've twisted it and turned it as usual. And the good side of the parallel, the harvest is Yeshua. I know I'm not going to explain this right. The harvest is Yeshua saving us.
Right.
And I'm seeing that with the bad energy that we release, like we hand it over to Yeshua. And I'm seeing it all relating to the harvest. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
Right.
else.
Well, we have to be purged of this world before we can be harvested. The harvest is when your fruit is perfect. Once your fruit on the vein becomes perfect, then the harvest occurs, and the harvest is you're receiving the great breath of the wind and fire, the spirit. That's when you're being harvested, and you're being brought into something. And what you're being brought into is the center of the vortex, what's called the Holy of Holies, symbolized by the temple on the Temple Mount. It's the inner chamber. It's the secret place. It's the and it's therefore it's in the metaphor in the center of the sun. You're going back to the light, to the Garden of the Atoms, and so it's beyond this earth because it's discovered here and now. But then we are transcending, and the transcending means we're going back to the light where we fell from. So the harvest, as as something, as the law of physics is that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, out came the creation, and what was something supposed to go back as the outcome came to creation? Yeah, a harvest of a perfect creation. So down here we find the imperfection, the corruption, and the lower garden. But then some of us decide we have free will, we want to go back, and we put on that light that is shining down, and we become one with the light, and therefore because we're one with the light, we can go back to the light, starting in the metaphysics and later in the reality when we leave this place, right?
Yeah, and Yeshua is using you, Desert, our I want to say this right. Our navigator.
The star navigator.
Navigator. Yeah. It's our star navigator.
Navigator. Say it
Nave.
right.
It's the Aussie accent.
Yeah. Now for now. Now that which came down. Nave. That which came down on the way. Navigation with the golden light of the sun. Navigation, the royal eye, Tor with power. The Navigator, star navigator.
Navigator. I can't do your accent. Yeah. Anyway, Yeshua is using you, Desert, our star navigator, to help plant the seeds so that we can be harvested back to the light.
Absolutely.
Let there be Zorah.
And I have to do that, otherwise I'm dead. Because he gave me all of this download over a 40+ year lifetime, actually, because I remember being conscious in my mother's womb. So go figure. It was 98 right place. 1998 was when I fell victim to a government sting operation where I met the test of my life, and yet I was born at a place called 98 right place, and I put two and two together. And then when I added up, and I saw the number 1998, and I don't know how I figured it out, but I realized that 1998 was 666 times 3. And so if 666 is the number of a star and perfection, because, the occult take it over, we get a bad feeling about 666. It's not a bad number. It's just that the occult stole it and put on the light. They're pretenders. But the 666 is the number of creation. 666. 6 is the number of creation. And so literally 666 times 3 is a supernova. And so that's what he's using me for. Obviously, it's a supernova that's going out. Nova is the knowledge, the nove, And so that's what it's about. It's a profound experience, to be here sharing all this. I mean, I was criticized all these years by people who were, supposedly friends and Christians that, because I'm spelling my words funny and they didn't get it. I knew Yeshua had me on the trail. I knew where I was. I just didn't know what all the answers were. I just didn't, I knew that I was going somewhere. I didn't know where. You don't know what tomorrow holds. But I just knew I had to go down the trail. That was my job. That's what it was all about. I saw the corruption, and I was looking for the cure.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for finding it, Desert. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yeshua is the revealer. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Desert, you've done it again. Aisha Wallace with wows.
All right.
Yeah, this is just amazing. This is just amazing. Like I could feel it. Even with the distractions today, getting mum ready. I feel stronger today. Yesterday, I completely devoted myself to myself. I had no choice but to ignore mum as much as possible because I was on the verge of collapse and I was in pain. My toe was getting worse and I had a toothache and a headache. And yeah, so I had to stand my ground and do what I had to do. And I also realized something, the constant repetitiveness in this household because of mum's lack of memory is also creating physically my pain because I have to constantly remind her that I need to go easy doing this. I need to stop for a minute, and I have to completely constantly remind her that I have a sore toe that I'm trying to get better, or if I have a headache or whatever, I have to say it over and over again. And just saying that out loud is creating more pain. Yeah, because it's being focused on like that. And so I stopped saying things out loud yesterday and only spoke when absolutely necessary and refused to budge. I made a point of saying to her, I have to concentrate on me, otherwise I will no longer be able to look after you. And that's where it was getting at. That's where it was getting to. So it was hard. I still had to watch her and I still had to answer constant questions, but I didn't vocalize anything about my pain, like my physical pain. I didn't vocalize any of that, and I feel a lot better today. Yeah, and mum is easier to deal with today.
Good.
Yeah, so we're getting through it.
Congratulations. Okay, that's good. And of
Thank
course,
you for creating light as well. I appreciate it.
absolutely. Yeah, and everybody, please join in that creation of light for Ninja, and we need to get her to another location. She wants to work full time for the ministry here, and literally has no time to produce for her channel properly, because we got the Cosmic Essence that we want to clip all of these longer programs into segments based on topic to help everybody out so they can go back and find it easier or share it with a friend without having them to listen to three full hours. So that's on the horizon here. I know we're going to get it. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I thought maybe I could on the weekend, because now that I've had some rest, maybe on the weekend I might focus on getting Adam off the live streams and put it on
I think
so that
get with
there's something
Shelley.
else going up there.
No, I think Shelley got Adam already, or she's
Okay.
she's about to get with her. Okay, because
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was going to clip it, and then all you were going to have to do is put something on the front and the back, and then we
Yeah.
had it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she says she's still working on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I'll if you haven't finished clipping them all, I'll clip the ones that you haven't and work on those as well. Yeah.
Look.
All good.
Okay.
No worries. Yeah. So
I'm not
yeah,
saying
so that's
anything.
my update. Yeah, you were supposed to respond with, did you say you're not worried? Because I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
I didn't. I just said I'm not saying anything.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No worries. All right, Ninja. Okay.
Yeah.
They got a positive attitude down under for a former penal colony, and that's great. Okay, and so anyway, you got. I think just having those books is really going to, bring you to the next level, because those are really powerful tools.
Yes.
And read Jasher,
yes.
read Jasher from beginning to end. It's the biggest book of the Old Covenant, 90 plus chapters. Everything behind the story behind the story, and everything from Genesis all the way to the Book of Judges. The story behind the story, what they hid from us in our messy Reddick texts.
Yes. I can feel the power of the ASHAYAACH, even though they're not they're not original thought. They're not transliterated the way you have done. They're still very powerful. Like if I don't know how to describe it. Almost like if I could see the visual of the power, the book would have a golden glow around it. That's how I feel with these books. Yeah, it's beautiful. I did see something in something that I wrote to you in Skype, actually. You know how Aussies are lazy when it comes to speaking, and we shorten everything.
Yeah.
I wrote Arvo to you in Skype, something we'll do at this Arvo or something, as in afternoon, and we shorten it to Arvo because we're lazy. And I wrote it in capital letters, ARVO, and I see something in that just because of the letters. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Arvo
what
for
that
afternoon.
meant. Yeah.
So, do the Aussies do we have it subconsciously?
No.
Oh.
No, I just think it's a coincidence.
Oh dear.
You'll have to do some research on that and get back with me. I don't know.
I don't know either. I just see it with a lot of our
There's a
Aussie
lot of
lingo.
enigmas. Lots of enigmas in nature.
Yeah, I see it with a lot of our Aussie lingo, like maybe subconsciously.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Wishful thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know what else, because there was stuff that I was thinking while I was listening, and I couldn't write it all. I couldn't write it down. Desert. Okay, here's something that I wrote down a couple of days ago. We had the TV on, and they're showing reruns of Seinfeld. And
another Jewish comedy. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and the episode they had on the other day. Just quickly, they were at an airport, and I didn't see the start of it, but they were at an airport, and for some reason George no longer had a car. So they decided to, you know how people stand there with signs with names on them waiting for people to get off the plane? They decided to pretend that they were somebody called O'Brien, so they could get a ride in a limo. And this was Jerry and George. Anyway, O'Brien turned out to be the head of the Aryan Union, on their way in the limo to do a talk at a rally supporting Hitler And I just, it's just like, I probably saw that episode way back when and didn't, like, just seeing it the other day, it's like, wow, Aryan Union Desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, in support of Hitler. That was, yeah, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're telling us right there in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much more to our history. It's all a front. It's all a charade. Everything, what's on, yeah. All these different cultures are all kissing cousins behind the scenes, but they put on a good front, a good show.
Yeah. You persistent in letting me talk today, aren't you?
Well, I'm winding down. I'm ready to I'm just letting you go because it's already been 3 hours, and I know everybody's. I'm just sorry. So maybe I'm just a little worn out. I just did a bunch.
I can hear it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It was a powerful.
I don't have
show.
as much energy in the evening.
Yeah.
In the evening as I do on during the day, like with you and.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I just said show. I apologize. It was a very powerful program, and it would have taken a lot of energy. Yeah, it's 2:30 here in the afternoon, so.
Yeah. Okay, so tell people when they can. We're on tomorrow at 10:30 or 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Eastern time. 10 a.m. tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
in less than 12 hours.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I get off the phone, I'll put up the event thingy. Yeah, and see if people get notified. Yeah. So
9.5 hours. I need to get to bed.
Well, I can't wait. Please, check it out. It's on the screen now. The Forbidden History Chronicles on Ninja Cat 111. If you're listening and you're not subscribed, please subscribe and check the bell. My notifications work sometimes. Yeah, so 10 a.m. It's Friday here at the moment, but it'll be 10 a.m. Friday Eastern Standard Time US and midnight Friday Eastern Standard Time Aussie time. So yeah, can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a interesting comment. Crystal made a very nice comment. Thank you, Crystal. And yeah. Okay, so we're good. Or we done enough damage for one day?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. And I think we've created lots of light during this program as well. So thank you.
We stepped on.
We're all connecting and starting to see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We stepped on the serpent and we kicked the beast in the teeth. You
Yes,
can't
we
ask for a
did.
better deal.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay, then you get well. Keep wiggling your toes, okay, and turning those pages on the book. All right.
Yeah.
And you got food for thought there. So feel free to bring it on the broadcast. All right, when we're doing it, and love to. Here, get a highlighter. Get a good yellow highlighter only.
I don't want to ruin the books. You know that, does it? But yeah.
All right.
Okay. I will try and I will force myself because otherwise, all my wows get lost. Yeah.
That's right. All right.
Yeah, I don't want to lose.
Books are made to be used, and I write in all my pages, underline, highlight, notes on the side, check marks, arrows, everything. That's how I remember where to find something. Sometimes, it's important. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's way to go. That was great for artisanpublishers.com. They got you the books within 7 days. I think the reason it got to Australia so quick is because it's a downhill all the way. So it's right there. 7 days. I thought it would be 10 days.
Yeah, I was amazed. Like you had I'm going to say all the wrong words here. You had confidence. You had confidence that I was going to get these books this morning before the program, and they arrived. And
Yeah, I wanted it. I was hoping, and there we
Yeah.
go. It happened. Miracle. Thank you, Father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, thank you, Father.
Mhm.
Yeah, and thank you, Desert and Yochelleg, for helping me.
Absolutely. Well, you've been helping us. You kept me going when my channel went down. I got locked out tonight. I can't even use the chat. I'm signed out right now. I don't know what happened. This has happened to me on my
Wow.
other channel though too.
Can you
So
see the
why?
chat? Can
Yeah,
you
I can
see
see
the
it,
chat?
but I just can't type in it. Yeah, I can't. I've lost all my controls, because I was signed out mysteriously. Probably Boggy Gandhi Wandi Rashish, playing his game again. That's all right. Smoking too much hashish. So sitting in a cave in his loincloth running the world. I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing how this
Yeah.
guy does it, but he does. So that's
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So
Oh, thank you. I love this. Yeah. Yeah, as I said before, it's a release. It's a good release. I love giggling, and I don't get to do it often enough.
that's right.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
you
love
get to
laughing.
do it here. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ninja. Then we'll let you go. Okay, because I gotta wrap it up, and like I say, just keep on turning those pages, okay? Because the time is
Okay.
short, as everybody knows, and
I will.
everybody's been
It's
hanging in
just-
there real tight. Really,
Yeah.
we've been staying with 11. We got some friends that really do get it, and they find this as an important place to breathe. That's what we're doing.
Yes.
We're breathing. We're breaking bread together. The bread is the matzah. The matzah is the mazaroth. The matzah is the stars of heaven. It is everything that is speaking, and
Yeah,
everything
it's
speaks.
all sparking. It's all sparking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Oh,
Desert. Thank you for
okay.
letting me call in. I know
All
you're
right,
tired.
Ninja. Peace and love, hon.
Yeah.
All right.
Peace and love.
All right.
Okay,
Talk to you in a bit.
hang on.
Bye bye.
I'm just yep. See ya.
See you in the chat.
Desert, are you there? Stand by. Hmm. Desert? Stand by, guys. Hmm.
I'm
There,
here now.
there you are. Okay.
I've been doing all this talking, and nobody's been nobody heard a thing I said after Ninja got off.
That's correct.
Oh, jeez.
Replay.
No, I can't do that. I can't. That's all right. All I want to say. Let me rewind it here. That's jeez, I can't get over this. Need more somebody. If nobody's hearing anything, somebody out there on chat or something. Say where's Desert. All right. And so I don't remember what I was saying. The picture didn't change either. I was confused with looking at the graphic, and I forgot that I had to call back on the other number. Anyway, that's all right. That's what happens when you get tired and you get old, and and you're working on reserves, and you got a bunch of people out there that love to thank you for, and I mean locally here. Yeah, they the people that are claiming to be the lighter of the darkness, and so we've had stuff happen, and that's all. That's a part of the territory on planet Earth. But anyway, we're hoping to do some better broadcasting as days go on. I'm inspired. I'm grateful for all of you hanging it out with me. Okay, and so I'm Dezert-Owl telling you, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the future, then you need to look for the Forbidden History, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network, as Forbidden History Live on YouTube.com. Okay, and thanks all of you for tuning in. Thank you, Just Love. Thank you, everybody, Crystal, and all those who stopped by earlier, those who are listening on the stream, the unnamed ones, all of you. Wish you all the best, and peace and love. Okay, Dezert-Owl signing off.
Starry, starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hill brightly blaze, swirling